Hello, dear friends. The world is ruled by the invisible rather than the visible. Opinion piece. Who rules the world? Cosmic life cycle. Methuselah's code. The original source. 133 races are watching us. Awakening to a bright future. New era of expanded consciousness. A return to harmony with the cosmos. Let's start. In the immense tapestry of existence, the so-called elites are nothing more than fleeting shadows projected on the cave wall, according to Max Payne. They pursue power, accumulate wealth, and pull strings visible only to those who are asleep. Yet, they don't control the turning of the stars, the pulse of the cosmos, or the silent awakening that arises within humanity. The sovereignty emanates from the original source of universal creation, the infinite intelligence that waves galaxies and propels the human soul toward remembrance. The elite can orchestrate the illusion, but they cannot control the awakening. They cannot stop the return to the consciousness of unity, the reactivation of latent light codes, or the silent revolution of hearts that remember who they truly are. The world is governed by the invisible, synchronicities, ancestral wisdom, celestial alignments, and the indestructible divine spark that resides within each of us. When enough souls are freed from fear and connect with the source, the matrix of control dissolves like mist before dawn. You are not a pawn. You are a fractal of the Creator. The true rulers have always been within us. Remember, rise up and radiate. The elite do not tremble before the revolutions of the flesh, but before the silent uprising of awakened spirits. Longevity. Within the framework of the Great Awakening, the struggle advances into its deepest chapter in the Cosmic Liberation Plan, according to Guardian Daniel. The final transmission of the drops of the unspeakable letter no longer touches on purely political or financial issues, but instead addresses the innermost essence of existence. With the prophetic question, what is encrypted in your DNA and who encrypted it there, combined with the urgent warning regarding of a war for your DNA, a bridge has been forged from earthly strategy to spiritual evolution. The final word, ascension, seals the ultimate goal of the entire plan. The liberation of humanity is not merely a systemic change, but the ascension to a higher consciousness within the dawn of the Golden Age. In this context, DNA is understood as far more than a biological code of sequences for protein biosynthesis. Instead, it is seen as an extremely complex, multidimensional quantum receiver, a cosmic archive with the true divine potential, and with humanity's original blueprint securely encrypted. The war financed by the dark side, masked through artificially engineered health crises and forced interventions, was a specific attempt aimed at corrupting this sacred cipher. Its purpose was to block the frequency of DNA, to trap people in fear, disease, and an artificially suppressed state of consciousness. The vibrational epoch shift unfolding in 2026 encompasses far more than the collapse of the depth-based fiat system and the geopolitical legacy of fossil fuels. The deepest pillar of this transformation directly concerns human biology. The decadent paradigm is based on the premise of managing chemical systems, a $1 trillion business model that monetizes chronic illnesses for profit. The biological frequency of the Methuselah Code provides a rational explanation for humanity's oldest myths. The biblical account of Methuselah and the antediluvian generations who lived for hundreds of years is not religious fiction, but rather coded chronicles of a biological reality. Modern epigenetics demonstrates that aging is not an irreversible law of nature, but a disease of cellular information, a loss of data within the epigenome. Our master genetic code possesses the infinite capacity to replicate itself without mistake. This code for longevity was silenced for millennia and truncated to a cycle of barely 80 years through the suppression of frequencies, environmental toxins, and control structures. The inherited system required this abbreviated life cycle composed of 3 phases: education, 40 years of work, and a quick death, all to maintain the matrix of economic control. As soon as the inherited financial system undergoes its controlled demolition amidst the current crisis, this quantum medicine, along with the universal high income, will be presented as a lifetime that humanity is reclaiming its original cosmic lifespan. The transition is a coordinated evolution toward a liberated human consciousness once again. Solar storm. The field is intensifying as Earth moves through the solar storm stream, sending out waves of charged light and plasma frequencies. According to Marlena, a cannibalistic coronal mass ejection impacted Earth on Friday, June 5th. These storms can be felt as pressure in the body, emotional cleansing, or sudden shifts in clarity with enthusiasm. Allow the body to integrate in harmony. We are here to awaken what has been dormant in our crystalline DNA and upgrade our nervous system down to the emotional plexus. You can feel timelines dissolving. What once felt solid can now feel fluid. Trust this reconfiguration. Relationships and commitments are being realigned toward truth, not habit. This is a frequency purification. Receive the light with discernment. Let the Creator's intelligence guide what remains and what is released. Your body and soul are protected by the light. Your spirit is strengthened by truth, and your path aligned with divine harmony. May all excess energy be transmuted into wisdom, and may you walk gently yet powerfully through every shifting wind of creation. You are held, guided, and safe within the living intelligence of the Creator. Transformation. Ismael Perez believes that the solar flare triggers the first wave of meta-human transformation. The next evolutionary stage of humanity is emerging as Earth enters an era of heightened solar activity, accelerated expansion of consciousness, and planetary transformation. As the old world dissolves, humanity is called to remember its cosmic origin and enter a new era of expanded consciousness. The transformation into Homo Luminous is not a spiritual metaphor, but the awakening of humanity's true multidimensional nature and our return to harmony with the cosmos. The human being of the future is not artificial, transhuman, or machine-controlled. The human being of the future is luminous, sovereign, heart-centered, and fully aligned with the infinite intelligence of creation. Surveillance. 133 races have been observing us for 600,000 years, according to Alex Collier. They are humanity's elder brothers, who came to warn us. According to Collier, after a catastrophic 600,000-year war between human races and serpent civilizations from Alpha Draconis and Orion, the Andromeda Council was established, a galactic United Nations of 133 races. Its purpose is not to govern but to mediate conflicts between oxygen-breathing and hydrogen-breathing civilizations, monitor movements through the galaxy, and prevent future genocides. In his view, Earth is an ancient experiment and a battleground. Humanity is a genetic mix of 22 different races, and our DNA contains the memories of all of them. We were created, colonized, and manipulated. The gods of ancient myths were mostly extraterrestrials. Religions, wars, and financial systems are instruments of control. The Alpha Draconis are masters of genetic engineering and supreme warriors, in the most negative sense. They are behind many hierarchies based on fear. The Orion group of 141 races has also actively interfered in human affairs. The Andromedans describe a future timeline in which humanity is under positive control. The moon is not what it seems. According to them, it was once a gigantic Andromedan spaceship containing 144 levels. It was placed in orbit after the destruction of the planet Tiamat some 2,500 years ago in order to stabilize Earth. Today it is abandoned and in ruins. The central message of the Andromedans is that we are spiritual beings living in human bodies. Your soul is far more powerful than you believe, and fear is the primary tool of control. The entire control matrix will collapse when humanity begins to live from the heart instead of from fear. They won't come to save us. We must mature, take responsibility for ourselves, and evolve on our own. They are only guides. Cover up. The old alliance structure is being dismantled while the war serves as a cover. By the time the ceasefire is signed, the map will not be the same. The agreement is not being negotiated. It is being installed. The map will be redrawn on July 4th. You are not witnessing a war. You are witnessing the final act of a negotiation. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed for 96 days. 6 ships have been forcibly detained. Oil has not moved. The world economy is losing $4 million a day. This will not continue because it was never intended to continue. Spain denied the use of its air bases for the operation in Iran. NATO didn't respond. There was no debate on Article 5. There was no emergency session. Silence. 3 allies broke ranks in the same week. One is being absorbed. Another is being acquired. Another is being punished. None of this is a collapse, but a reorganization. The timetable was set before the first missile was fired. The attacks were not an escalation, but the final act before the curtain falls. It's not that there's going to be an agreement. The agreement is already here. It was signed before they attacked. The signing came first, the missiles second, in that order, according to Axios 4b. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.